Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Molly. Max, are you listening? Just Saturday. Don't try to prep. Don't try to. Are you ready? Are you sitting back? Just Saturday. Are you ready for what I'm about to bring your way? The top 5 teams in the National Football League, according to moi, at this particular moment in time. Let's go to number 5 on the list, y'all. Give it to me. The Tennessee Titans. Why? Did you see what they did to the Indianapolis Colts? Did you see what that brother Derrick Henry is doing? Have you noticed that when we talk about league MVP candidates, not to mention Offensive Player of the Year, he is in that conversation with Patrick Mahomes, whether you want to admit it or not. The best running back in football, a mountain of a man who continues to bring the rain. And as a result, the Tennessee Titans are 8-3 in first place in the AFC South. Just bum rush the Indianapolis Colts, and here they come. They're number 5 on my list. Let's go to number 4 on the list, please. Give it to me. The Seattle Seahawks. Why? I know they had a bye week this week, even though they played the Philadelphia Eagles last night. That's my equation of a bye week, considering how awful the Eagles look. But here's the bottom line. We know that Russell Wilson was an MVP candidate. We know that DK Metcalf is that dude, okay? Tyler Lockett is no scrub. Carson is back at the running back spot. And oh, by the way, the acquisition of Dunlap has improved their pass rush and their overall defense, along with Jamal Adams getting himself healthy as well. Seattle is no joke. They are a team to be reckoned with. They're the team in the NFC West. At this particular moment in time, they are clearly a top 5 team. They've got coaching. They've got the executives taking care of business, and they damn sure got the players on both sides of the ball. Seattle's at number 4. Let's go to number 3, please, on the list. Give it to me. The New Orleans Saints. We all know what time it is here. Even without Drew Brees, Taysom Hill brings a different equation, a different element to the equation. He can run with the football in ways that Drew Brees never dreamed about doing. Obviously, their defense is nothing to sneeze at. You still have Alvin Kamara, Emmanuel Sanders, of course, Michael Thomas. Max Kellerman pointed all of this out, so he can't argue with that point. The Saints are a top 3 team in the NFL because they're one of the more well-balanced teams in the NFL. Even without Drew Brees, they're still winning football games. Let's go to number 2 on the list, please. Give it to me. The Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, we haven't seen them yet this week. Game been postponed from Thursday to Saturday, now Sunday to Tuesday. Now it's been moved to Wednesday. I mean, it's just an absolute mess. They're still undefeated, though. We understand that. But they've been in a lot of tough games this year. They're tough games, even though they've ended up unblemished, undefeated, and they're elite because they're 10-0. And we understand Big Ben looks great. The bottom line is they've got to be number 2 because they don't look like this team. Number 1 on the list, Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. We can act like the game was close all we want to, and it was when they played Tampa and beat Tampa 27-24. All right, Tampa pulls within 27-24 with 4 minutes left. But we saw that first quarter. We saw Tyreek Hill catch 203 yards along with 2 touchdowns in the first quarter. We saw Patrick Mahomes throw for 359 yards in the first half. We see how potent this offense is. They just seem to be toying with people. They seem on a level all by themselves right now. That's why even with 1 loss, 1 blemish to the Las Vegas Raiders this season, I've got to give credit where credit is due based on the eye test. Now, I don't have these Beetlejuice eyes like Max Kellerman does, but I can still see, even without my glasses, the Chiefs are number 1. The Steelers are number 2. The Saints are number 3. The Seahawks are number 4. And the Tennessee Titans are number 5 on the list. Yes, I left off Green Bay because I can right now. A running game matters to me. I'm going to give the Tennessee Titans love. I'm going with them as my top 5.
I mean, we get it now. We could get it at Christmas. I mean, who knows? But when you look at the way the NFL has handled this, I don't necessarily know if you can critique it. I don't necessarily know if you can be critical of it, because it seems that they're trying to keep people safe, that they're trying to keep COVID-19 contained. And if that's their goal, if that's what they're focused on, then that's the right goal. Then that's the right way to move forward. And when you look at what's going on for the Baltimore Ravens, it's been positive test after positive test, even up until yesterday, where even people like Dan Graziano are saying that there are Baltimore Ravens who weren't necessarily comfortable with traveling. And so the NFL has to find a way to play this game eventually. But the fact that it's been postponed in hopes of having the most healthy and safe environment for their players is the right thing to do. And so if you got to watch football at Wednesday, at least Central Time at 2:40, then that's what you do. You sit in front of your TV, you grab some popcorn, and you watch it.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin is presented by Progressive Insurance. All guests join us here on the Shell Performance Line. Hey, RC, do you think the Steelers are kind of like getting the bad end in this situation?
Well, I mean, it seems that way, obviously, because most of the things are going on in Baltimore. Also, you saw what happened to the Pittsburgh Steelers earlier this year in Tennessee. I mean, it's just with Tennessee, it's just the luck of the draw, man. Like, it just happens to be the Pittsburgh Steeler week, and you have to deal with it. When you look at the way the CBA was set in place, when you look at the protocols that were put in place and the requirements that were put in place for COVID-19, this is part of it. You are subject to it, even if it's not running rampant in your building. And that's what the Pittsburgh Steelers are dealing with. I do find it, I don't know if ironic is the right word, that, you know, the Pittsburgh Steelers were tweeting and they were all upset about people not doing the right thing. And then the one Pittsburgh Steeler that you want to get COVID-19 the least, James Conner, test positive. And so I think that we all have to be extremely sympathetic. We all have to be extremely understanding about what's going on with people. And yes, they had a strength coach who was doing stupid stuff. And I feel like he should be punished, and the Baltimore Ravens should be punished. But the Pittsburgh Steelers have to know that they're doing what is in the best interest of the health and safety of the players as it pertains to COVID-19. So continue to get ready, continue to push your schedule. Mike Tomlin, continue to preach, as you always do, about winning the game at hand, and that's the way you move forward.
I feel like Pittsburgh hadn't played in like a month, even though they've played here recently.
It feels like it.
It certainly feels that way, RC. Let me ask you this. How do you think they're going to play? I was almost said tonight because I'm thinking at night. But how do you think they're going to play this afternoon at 3:40, I think it is?
Yeah, I mean, I think they'll play well. I think the one thing that Coach Tomlin always does is helps you understand the moment. It helps to me that it's the Baltimore Ravens, though, that it's a team that you don't really like anyway. It's a team that you respect, but you don't have this admiration for them in the sense of a team that you care about. Like people in the Steelers building, although it's a brotherhood and they want people to be safe from COVID, they don't care that the Baltimore Ravens have those problems. They're probably happy that they do, and they want to make them more miserable. They want to add to that, and that's going to be the talk going around the building. And it's going to be about domination. Keyshawn, you know how it is, man. When sharks see blood in the water, they attack. And there's blood in the water in Baltimore. They weren't playing well before you lose Lamar Jackson to COVID, and now you have these things happen. You push the game back. They're going to want to make the Baltimore Ravens pay for everything that they feel the Baltimore Ravens have put on them, and we'll see that on the grass at 3:40.
RC, give me the real talk like you give it to me when we're at the DoubleTree, all those old school days. What the hell is going on in Philadelphia with the quarterback situation, man?
Bro, Doug Peterson doesn't know, Jay. I can promise you he doesn't know. I can promise you Doug Peterson didn't have a plan for this. The only person in the world that's as close to a bigger fan of Carson Wentz as Doug Peterson is Dan Orlovsky. That's the two people in the world that you would not have been able to convince that Carson Wentz would play this way. I don't think Doug Peterson was all on board with the Jalen Hurts draft. And so now he has a guy who he thought would be great, a guy who finished looking like an MVP last year with backups, and you have a backup quarterback that you draft in the second round that you don't necessarily think could play quarterback right now. And so now that you heard him early on in the season, right? If we go to Jalen Hurts, that means we're giving up on the season. If you bench Carson, he never thought Carson would continue to play this bad. And so when you hear him talk this week and he's like, well, you wish Jalen could get some reps and get some continuity, and then it's because he don't know, y'all. He is at a point where he has no idea how to fix what's going on with Carson Wentz, but he also knows he's stuck with Wentz for at least 2 years, and if Wentz doesn't work, he's fired, and he still doesn't believe in Jalen Hurts enough to say, if I put him in the game, he could save me. The dude has no way to go, man. He's in between a rock and a hard place, and that hard place is going to get him fired because he needs to figure this out.
Let me ask you this real quick, though, Ryan. Is Doug the right man for this particular job? Because I've always said when a coach takes over for a team in his first year, it's always a honeymoon, magical. But over time, they take on the personality of the coach, and you can kind of see what that coach is. Is he the right guy? I know he won a Super Bowl, but is he the right guy?
Yeah, see, and you see the key, that's the hard part, right? It's hard to say that a dude that won the Super Bowl isn't the right guy for the team. What it seems is, though, that Doug Peterson isn't the right guy for this team. He was the right guy to have a young Carson Wentz and have a Nick Foles on the bench, but he isn't the guy that's continued to morph as this team has changed. He hasn't adapted to the new rendition of the Philadelphia Eagles, to the team that now is going to be cap heavy, to a team that now has a quarterback who takes up a lot of the salary cap. And so I don't know if Doug Peterson is right for this team. I know in this moment, he doesn't seem to be the coach to get them out of where they are right now. And that's something they're going to have to look at in the offseason.
That's a fair point, because at the end of the day, Howie Roseman, the executive vice president, essentially drafted Jalen Hurts because of Carson Wentz's injury history, not his history of playing terribly. That came after the pick, not before. They're between a rock and a hard place here for sure. Rye, thanks so much, and enjoy Wednesday after.